The Chicago Blackhawks are set to have two major additions added to the lineup over the next few days. So we're going to be talking about that, as well as an insane Connor Bedard stat that we have to show you guys, for those who may be a few doubters. But like I said, we need to talk about, the rest of the stuff here. Before we get into this, though, we notice that 78% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your Blackhawks news up to date as it happens and everything, and stay with this team, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button and join us along this journey to what could be the number one overall pick in Macklin Celebrini. But, like I said, let's get straight into the big topics we have here. First of all, we just need to say that we have a great addition back to the lineup tonight, as Andreas Athanasiou is set to return tonight, joining the third line. A guy who's been out for as long as just about I can remember, and it's going to be a definite nice addition to add back to this lineup. So, Noah, what do you think about Andreas Athanasiou, just quickly here, returning to the lineup tonight, and what kind of impact do you think he can make?
Yeah, he's a great guy to have in this lineup. I mean, he's going to kill you with speed. We know that from the little bit that he's played, even going back to his Detroit days. And, earlier on in his career, he's just so speedy, and he'll kill you with his speed, pretty much.
Yeah, no, many people are saying that Andreas Athanasiou, he hasn't played too much. He hasn't, had too much of an impact on the Blackhawks, but realistically, he hasn't had an opportunity to. He's been so hurt that... I'm not sure exactly how many games he's played, but it's very few, and it's going to be a nice return to the lineup regardless. Any help they can get at this point, I think, is going to be a good one. So, we're going to keep an eye on that tonight. I expect him to come out, hopefully fully healthy, hopefully flying, it'll be a nice addition to see what they can do here in this game. Yeah, but let's move on to, another topic here. Is Landon Slaggert. He's set to make his debut this coming Friday with the Chicago Blackhawks, very quickly after signing his entry-level deal. We've spoken a lot about Landon Slaggert, how excited we are to see him come up to this team, what kind of impact he can make on this team, and, we'll soon find out Friday, as Charlie Romeo is also from Ben Pope here, saying Luke Richardson said that they are targeting Friday for Landon Slaggert to make his NHL debut. And just an update for those who do not remember, he signed his entry-level deal March 10th, just a few days ago. And it didn't take too much longer after the season of the NCAA ended to sign his entry-level deal and to make his debut, or set to make his debut, very quickly after his entry-level deal has been signed. So, Noah, what do you think about this debut? How excited are you? Yeah. What do you think we're going to see from Landon Slaggert, and what kind of switch do you think the Blackhawks are going to make when everybody starts to get healthy, and especially when Landon Slaggert gets added to this team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be a first-line player by no means. Obviously he scored 20 goals in Notre Dame, I think it was this year. I actually watched a little bit of his highlights before we made the video. We're in Eastern Canada, obviously, so we don't get too many college hockey highlights. But watching highlights, and I mean, the guy, I think he's 6 foot, 180 pounds, and he can hit like just about anybody in the league. I mean, so I think he's going to be a good impact player, sort of like hard around the board, sort of, those hard to win puck battles. I think he's going to be a big piece for this Blackhawks future for sure.
Yeah, it was one thing the Blackhawks are lacking is a lot of physicality. It's going to be good for him to be able to, throw that body around, still feel confident about in the NHL. We might not see the level that he did in college. We might not see, that level right away. It's definitely a big change getting used to the NHL or professional hockey coming straight out of college. So, I do expect him to not have, a booming start, a really quick start, putting points per game, but I think it's going to be just a little time to get used to it, and then we'll start to see, that momentum start to gain as the confidence gets higher. It's what we've seen with Connor Bedard at the beginning of this season, and now we see what he's been doing, and it's going to be exciting to see what he can do once he gets used to this NHL roster, this NHL situation.
Yeah, you sort of need, going back to his, sort of the gritty style that he plays, you need those guys on your team as well. Obviously, the first guy that comes to mind is, Byrne Gallagher in Montreal. Obviously, gritty player, scores big goals. Obviously he isn't the same player he was years ago, but I sort of see kind of similarities to Slaggert's game to Byrne Gallagher's. Like that gritty, hard-nosed, not afraid to, get a little rough and get that big goal that's needed.
Yeah, I'm not going to say about the size here, but Tom Wilson as well. Yeah. I think it's kind of the same situation. Tom Wilson, over the past few seasons, I would say definitely has an increase in his offensive production. Still always that physical guy. So, kind of the same situation as what we're seeing with Landon Slaggert. And I hope to see Landon Slaggert in the NHL similarities. So, we're going to see, maybe the NHL kind of changes his game plan, changes the way he plays. But I think if he sticks to his roots, he'll be completely fine. He's going to get a big opportunity on this Blackhawks team with half the team being, above average AHL players. So, it's gonna be exciting to see, but we'll wait for Friday until we actually figure out what he can do. So let's talk about this one here as well. This is a very interesting one, an insane Connor Bedard stat that I would say will quiet a lot of the doubters on if he will be a Calder Trophy winner or not. Now this post here is from Reddit, so do take this with a grain of salt. But I just found it interesting when I was looking at it. He says the narrative around Connor Bedard is that this season he's been more impressive than other top rookies because he plays on a terrible team with little help. I looked at primary points to determine his impact compared to the top 5 rookie scorers. So you can see here, Connor Bedard has 40 primary points in 51 games, compared to, Brock Faber, not Brick Faber, Brock Faber, Marco Rossi, Luke Hughes, and Dmitry Voronkov. So, this is definitely a stat where it does show that Bedard is on a bad team compared to some other of these guys. He's getting more playing time than most of these players, as well as, a few defensemen there. So it does show that he is putting a lot more impact on the puck compared to what some of these others may be doing, but it's also a very different situation in the team-wise. I would say Brock Faber is a lot more, important to his team in the sense that he can play a lot of defense. He plays nearly 30 minutes a night. And he's just a very good defenseman overall, but Bedard is definitely more talented. He's definitely, the face of the Blackhawks. It is a whole different situation for these two guys. So I do think that Bedard being able to have that total points, primary points, and compared to games played, it's definitely weighs a bit more than what you see with like Marco Rossi, Brock Faber, Luke Hughes. So now, what do you think about that stat? And a hard-hitting question for you: do you think that he is the Calder winner?
Yeah, he's the Calder winner. I mean, there's no. I don't really think there's a debate. Obviously, people might think otherwise, but that just solidifies the case right there. 40 primary points on an absolutely awful team. I guess I'll say awful. Like you said, they're almost AHL players, a lot of them. So to be able to do that on a bottom tier team and still be almost point per game and still contributing night in and night out. I mean, we've seen him, I think, was it the Capitals game? I think it was. He was dancing in around through everybody. It just made everybody look silly, made NHL veterans look silly. And I guess everybody's going to look and say, oh yeah, well that's the points. Everybody will say, oh well, he doesn't have point per, he's almost point per game. That's not good. I mean, you got to look at things like the primary points, like what he's doing on the ice. Obviously the things that not scoring goals, not getting assists, not getting points. So there's so much more to it, but obviously the primary points thing is massive.
Yeah, you're right on the nose. That's what I was going to mention as well, is that things that don't affect, that aren't affected by points, aren't affected by goals, assists, whatnot, his play with the puck, throughout the whole game, the entire ice, it's different from what we've seen from a lot of those other rookies. He can take control of a game by himself, and whether it's points or not, whether they may lose the game 5-0, but you'll see at least 4 to 5 times a game where Bedard can get the puck from his own end down to the offensive zone, going around 5 different people and not even losing the puck once, not even being close to losing the puck. And I think that's a lot where, this Calder odds will definitely come from as well. It's not just about the points that we've seen here. It's about what he can do by himself on such a bad team. And, I know the Calder's odds aren't, affected by, or they don't really care about what the team around you is like or what you're doing mainly without the points or without the puck. But a lot of that, from a viewer standpoint, is really what's important to us here watching this game, knowing that what he can do that may not be affected by points. So I do think that, that is the case. You're absolutely right here as well, according to this screenshot. The Calder odds, Bedard is a heavy favorite at minus 550. So whether it be actually that he will win the Calder or not, I don't think it really matters. I think that we know Connor Bedard is the face of this franchise, is the future of this franchise, and is the future of the NHL. So
I think, to sort of simplify it, it's like the NHL, the Calder Trophy goes to the best rookie, not the best rookie point scorer, I guess. But I don't know. It's really, really tricky, and that's probably gonna come across a little bit. I don't know, but that's my opinion, I guess.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I mean, whether he wins or not, that stat is absolutely incredible. This right here, 40 primary points in 51 games, that's really tough to beat, and that's a very good sign that what we're seeing in the future is going to be even better once he gets some more teammates, once he gets a solidified roster and more NHL experience. That number is just starting to grow and grow and grow. So I'm very excited to see what happens with this in the future of this team. So, that's all we got here. But if you did enjoy, make sure to give the video a like. Make sure to hit the sub button as well if you want to stay up to date with all of the Blackhawks news. We'll be taking a look at Slaggert's debut and everything once that time does arise, and Andreas Athanasiou's return. See how he's played. So if you want to check that out, hit the sub button, like I said. But that's all we got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.